A spectacular performance. Curry from half court. Sometimes, something looks like it's been there a
while. We are here after the end of a disastrous season. It started off problematic, and it ended problematic. Throughout the season, we thought of many different solutions. We needed a trade. We didn't need a trade. We talked. We brought you guys quality content and episodes almost every week. Maybe not every week, but as much as we can. And the Warriors did exactly what we had predicted like months ago when they were struggling, that they're just not going to do crap. Unfortunately, the nice little run they had after the
All-Star break.
All-Star break, yeah, after the All-Star break,
yeah,
it fooled us. They tricked us. The couple of games where Kuminga was dropping 20+ points, looking like a legit second option, we thought, man, our boys are back. We're back. We're back like we never left. And unfortunately, that was not the case. We lost. We played the Kings in the first round of the play-in, the 10th seed versus the 9th seed, and we lost. Unfortunately, we lost the score, a whopping 118-94. It wasn't even a close game. We're gonna dive deep into all the play-ins that just happened on on Tuesday and Wednesday. But of course, we first have to start with our beloved Warriors, who are officially all done with the season. The Lakers have had a better season than us. Sorry, Thomas. LeBron has outplayed Steph, and he probably will outplay KD in his 20th season. Wow. Amazing. It really is impressive. Let's first start off with the raw emotions, how we were feeling. Just talk about that a little bit, give our condolences. Before we get to the real analytical stuff, I'm going to pass the ball to let's go to West.
The emotions I'm feeling right now, immediately after the game, I just kind of felt like relieved, like, okay, I don't have to like hope anymore that some miracle can happen. Like it's not happening this year. So relief.
Okay. Oh, okay, good. Let's do one word. One word. Thomas is one word.
I mean, I was shocked. That's that's the one word I'd use. I really thought this was our year.
Illusion.
I really thought.
You love to see it.
I believed.
I honestly believed.
I mean, what else can you do as a fan, right? No, I mean it was a sad night. I will say nowhere near as sad as watching us lose to the Lakers last year. I mean, obviously I have certain personal biases, especially for me, that made that one especially tough to swallow. And the fact that it was a hard fought series last year, where it's just kind of one game. Like there was a lot of stuff last year that just made that one really bad. And this is kind of like Wes said. There was definitely an element of relief because you got it over with. You don't even have to think about oh, the upcoming series against the Thunder. How are we going to deal with that? Going down 2-0 and be like, no, we can still get this one. We can pull it out. Like there's none of that. It's done. It's over. It's in the rearview mirror now. On to next year, I guess.
Yeah, I think
that's
a really good way to put it. It's in the rear view mirror now. I kind of liked how you said that. I think if I were to give it one word, it would be, oh man, it's tough because I'm trying to get the best word, the best.
It's too late. I already picked it.
I mean,
relief.
Relief. That's a pretty good one. I gotta go with. I'm gonna need I'm blanking on a good one. I'm gonna go with pathetic. That's a pretty good one. I'm gonna go with pathetic. Okay, I didn't feel pathetic. What's the word? Probably a good word. That I thought that was pathetic.
Shamed for being
ashamed.
Associated.
I was ashamed.
By proxy as a fan.
As precisely. Wow. Beautiful. I was ashamed. I was ashamed as a fan because I think if you look at us on paper, this is not what our team is supposed to be. When you got a guy like Draymond, who's still one of the best defenders in the league today. Today, don't get it twisted. Curry, second best point guard in the league right now, maybe behind Luka. Second best. But even if someone wants to say not second best, okay, no problem. Can you at least agree top 10 player? At least, I think majority of people agree even top 10 player. Not top 10. They'll even give him top 15. So we have one top 15 player at worst. Best case, obviously, everyone knows, we know, if you're honest, he's the second best point guard in the league. Okay? You got a guy like Kuminga who is good when he plays well. Like, look at that stretch he had. He was dropping 20 plus points per game. You have a guy like Wiggins who was our 2A or 2B in our championship year. He's 27 years old. He's not 35. He's not coming off an insane ACL tear.
He's 29, by the way.
Wiggins is 29. Are you really?
Yeah, he is. I think he might have just turned
This is
29,
prime.
but still.
This is prime Wiggins.
I mean, it's not like he's 39.
Exactly. Regardless, the argument still remains. He's in his prime. 29 is very much in your prime, right? Jordan, and when he was 29 years old, what was he doing?
I think he won his
Well,
first
I mean,
title.
well, wait a second.
I mean, he's called Maple Jordan for a reason.
Maple
I
Jordan.
mean,
Bro. Point is, if you look at fine. Forget about the rings. You look at the quality of a player, like production. Look at all athletes when they're at 29. You cannot be like, oh my God, this player's gonna regress severely at 29. Excuse me.
no,
Doesn't
absolutely
make
not.
sense. You're athletically, you're in your prime. There's no reason to not. So, you can just keep on going on. We were not a 10th seed team. We were not a non-playoff team. We were a better team than last season. Just on paper, play-wise,
Easily.
everything, easily. We should
Absolutely.
have went at least to the second round. That was our at least.
I mean, I think the West is tougher this year, so it's kind of hard to
True.
gauge.
I think, but what does a point mean? Like, we were still like a team where if we went to the second round, people are like, oh yeah, it makes sense. That was a quality we had. Now, from the get-go, it was just disastrous, right? Draymond, 15 games being suspended. See, that hurts. That hurts now. Because guess what? Maybe if he's there, we win 8 of those games. Or actually, I don't know what our record was in those 15 games. I kind of forgot. Do any of you guys remember off the top of your head?
It was not great.
Yeah, probably losing
Maybe
record.
point is, maybe we win 5 more games with him and he's there. Guess where we are in the
I mean,
season?
yeah,
We're a lot higher. So heartbreaking, but that's more of a recap of our season in general. That'll be later for our 3 Points podcast fans. We're not gonna really get into that yet. We gotta more talk about the game itself on Tuesday. First things first, I think, and it's hard not to talk about this because I've been meaning to talk to you guys about this, and I've been refraining from doing so because it's such a hot topic. But the first thing we have to talk about, of course, is 0 for 10. 0 for 10.
Mr. 0 for 10.
0 for 10.
Did you know, apparently that's the first time he went scoreless when he actually played. That's what Draymond said in his podcast. He's been ejected before and then went scoreless, but that was the first time he played the
What
whole
are you
game.
talking about? Why is Draymond?
That's very true.
I mean, it's true.
Bro.
Why, dude, Draymond? It's so funny, dude. Why are you even talking about that?
Draymond, that's such cold.
Just go and go to Cancun like everybody else. You don't need to be recording podcast episodes the day after you get eliminated.
Dude, he's so real for that though. He's so real.
Anyways.
Putting him on blast.
I think it's funny because I mean, it's funny, man. I never imagined Draymond to be a podcast guy, respectfully to him. I just have never. I just like Trae Young. I had no. I recently found out, I think like a little bit ago, that he has a podcast. Trae Young having a podcast, that doesn't even make sense to me. He and then I'm watching it. He just, no offense to you, my brother Trae, you're a millionaire, hooper, top player in the league, maybe, kind of. What are you doing with a podcast? I just
He exudes charisma. What are you talking about?
No, he doesn't, bro. I'm sorry. He has a lisp and stuff like that, kind of. It's like, bro, it's not really.
He's a great interviewer.
He's
He really
Trae,
is,
bro.
bro.
He's a presence.
It's not like those interviews, with those like the vibe I'm getting is like, in like high school, and there's that awkward silence at the yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how a lot of the NBA podcasts are.
It's
Draymond's like one of the best ones that's
because
like
a lot of them are
legitimately
not good
entertaining.
at talking. Like, no
Yeah,
offense,
yeah.
the problem is this: just because you're a good NBA player doesn't mean you have good communication skills. Idiots. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
a lot of their co-hosts just like glaze them. Like they say something and they're like,
Oh my god, I
"Yeah,
know.
man,
It's so
that's
crazy.
facts, bro.
Like podcast,
For
like
real."
Play George, Play George. That's what I just called him, Play George. Send me to Bucks on right now. Paul George podcast, like his co-host. No offense, like man, you.
I love. I'm just gonna cut you off. Let's not trash Podcast P. That's one of the better ones.
Okay, no,
First
never mind.
off,
No,
What about
it's
his co-host? And even like
he can
Paul George's
actually
analysis,
he can like
like
actually hold a conversation with people, which is like kind of a step up from some of these guys.
hold a
But
conversation. Like, come on, bro. Like
anyways,
that's what I'm saying. Like Paul George, all these guys, like to be an elite communicator, like I would say, I know this guy. He's an elite communicator. Elite. One of the best talkers I know personally. I don't know if you know them. You know him, Wesson Thomas. I don't know if you guys know him. Elite.
no idea.
I have no clue who you're talking about.
It takes skill. It takes skill. That's what I'm trying to say. So, anyways, we're gonna regress. Just went on a tangent roasting all.
We're gonna regress.
We're gonna
We're gonna regret. I mean, we
we're gonna
might.
regress back to our previous.
To be fair, the core is only getting older, but
Wow. To the
Good
fans at
segue.
home.
Talk
To the
about
fans at home, apologies. Anyways, guys, come on, let's focus. We're professionals. Like, we're gonna go back. Oh yeah, so Draymond 0 for 10, 0 for 10. That's how we started at. Goddamn it, it's not that funny. We should not be laughing. 0 for 10. Oh my god, bro. And you know what's funny? So look, respect. Shout out my old man, my dad. He used to watch basketball a lot more when he was younger. He's gotten older. He's busy with work and real life and stuff. So he's not as in tune. So he has some casual takes. One of which, Klay Thompson sucks. And the problem is, I swear to God, every time he sits to watch a game with me, Klay has the worst game of his life, and that was the cherry on the top. 0 for 10. My dad was like he embarrassed me in front of my dad. Like, I was like, no, Baba, look. Klay's had a good streak. He's been playing real well over the last, 10 games or so. He's been actually the more consistent player on our team. Who's been inconsistent? Curry. He's been more consistent than Curry, believe it or not. And, Bob was like, really? Oh, blah, blah, blah. 0 for 10. My credibility is at 0 now. How do you guys feel? I think it's hard. It's hard to digest.
I mean, I feel like that was the biggest issue. Like with throughout this entire season, it wasn't really clear who Steph's number two was. Like this entire season, like sometimes it was Kuminga, sometimes it's Klay, sometimes it's Wiggins, and like in this
no, it
game,
wasn't. No, it was never
Wiggins.
Wiggins. It was not this
Trying to give
season.
him
It was
some
never
slack.
once Wiggins. No, I'm not.
Sometimes it's
we're
Chris
not doing
Paul.
Wiggins
Sometimes it's
slack.
Chris Paul.
Oh god,
Sometimes it's dude, at the beginning of the year it was Sarge. That's who our second best offensive player was. If you
literally.
remember, Sarge was cooking. And then
Yeah,
this game, like I think that's like the biggest issue with like why it was so easy to cope is that like throughout the season there's different periods where we're playing pretty well with different guys, but then as one guy kind of steps up, another guy kind of goes back to
In
his
this game,
mediocre role.
all those guys decided not to show up.
So yeah, they just all, including Steph to a certain extent, but like I don't even blame Steph for not really like feeling it because like when the effort's not there by like if you have no other second option, then like I don't know. And people would say like Moody had a good game, which he did, but like he can't be a second option when he's excelling in his role because his role is just like a good role player, like 3 and D. And he did well in the Sacramento game. He was like one of the bright spots, I guess, but it doesn't
yeah,
really matter
he was
when
actually
like
great.
yeah,
Put up
yeah.
like
But it
15,
doesn't really
17
matter.
minutes.
Yeah, yeah, he was.
So he was great. He was 16 points, 5 for 8 from the field, 2 for 4 from downtown, 1 assist, 3
Yeah.
rebounds. He did more than what was required from him. Can't say the rest.
Probably a member of our starting lineup next year. If I'm making a prediction now,
Interesting.
I
Who
would
would you replace?
play.
Clay.
I mean, obviously.
Hopefully, dude.
But I mean, like, okay, this is getting more into conversation about our predictions and all that
Yeah,
stuff. I
fair,
don't want to do
fair.
that. So let's just stop.
Fair.
Okay, but I think a good way to like talk about kind of like why we're kind of struggling in these high intensity games is that there was never really a concrete lineup throughout the season. And I think like going forward, that's what we should at least hope for. Like hope for like obviously injuries happen, but like so that when we're in a Sacramento game, everybody has their known role. And like there's not like confusion about like, oh, is Clay supposed to shoot this many shots? Is Steph supposed to shoot this many shots? And like, oh, is Moody taking too many shots? Like he's kind of being selfish. There should be like a solid hierarchy, and there wasn't really a hierarchy in this game. Like Steph's obviously our
Mhm.
number one, but then like behind him on any given night, we don't really know
It's Steph
who's
and the
gonna be
rest
that
of the
guy.
nobodies like one
I mean,
wise man.
okay. I mean, but to your point, Wes, like it doesn't help that Steve Kerr, the scientist, is doing constant experimentation with our rotations, like all the way throughout the regular season, like up until game 82. I swear to God, up until that playing game, it still feels like he's constantly trying to like figure out this perfect combination of guys, like rotating people in and out. With when the slightest run occurs, or when the slightest play happens that suggests maybe somebody should get taken out, like boom, immediately they're gone. It's a new guy in. The Warriors this season. I mean, this has been a pattern for. This has always been who Steve Kerr is, but this is especially this season. I think it became really noticeable because of just the sheer amount of rotation caliber guys we had on the roster. The rotation and lineup consistency on this team was just so piss poor. So many different lineups were being run out every single game. It was really, really. I mean, and obviously I can't get in the heads of any of these guys, but if you're like a Kaminga or something, or a Wiggins or whatever, like it's got to be really tough playing with the different four guys every time you're on the court. It's got to be an adjustment. It's gonna be mentally a little bit hard.
For sure.
Yeah,
Some
and
of
it's
it I
funny
think
that you
does.
mentioned that.
So,
Go ahead. Sorry about
I
that.
was just gonna say some of it definitely does come down to the fact that like just a lot of the lineups aren't working. So I mean, Curry's kind of right to go and try something else, but you can only do it so many times before it becomes a pattern that I think a lot more and more of the fan base is rightly becoming frustrated with. So I
Yeah,
mean, that's
it's
just yet
funny
another
that
storyline.
it's funny you mentioned that because it's like I remember a while ago I had mentioned on the pod that I feel like he's losing his touch, and I really think he is. I don't want to label it like, oh, he's old now, because again, Greg Popovich is really old. Phil Jackson was old when he went back with and three-peated
No,
with the
just like
Lakers.
he's just not that old, like
Exactly. He's so
factually.
also that's also true. Like I always forget that he looks really old now. He aged.
Looks older than he is, but
He
he's just not
aged
that
in
old. Like
the last
I
10
think
years.
Draymond aged him. Just Draymond's presence.
He has aged, man. Like maybe stop drinking or something, bro. Like the wrinkles are coming fast, dog. But I think he's just really. I don't know whether the accurate thing to say is that he's lost its touch, or maybe he just never really. These struggles that these weak points he's had are being exacerbated because of the lack of consistent talent on our rosters. These same problems in 2016, 2017 weren't as apparent because guess what? Everyone was freaking hooping out of their mind. So it overshadowed these weaknesses. Now, I was too young to remember, but I'd imagine he probably slash possibly was doing a lot of the same. He may have had similar mistakes in the past. I don't know. I just don't know. So I don't want to make an open blanket statement that he's gotten worse or made more mistakes over time. But definitely, as per this season and last season, he's been making a lot of judgment calls, judgment errors, and I don't know. Obviously, it's you can't be like, hey man, it's time to move on from him. Because what? We move on from the whole goddamn team. Clay, Kerr. You just
And
it's
Clay. Clay.
oh, God. West is just like zero remorse for Clay.
Like, well, moving on from Clay's not the same as moving on from Steph. Just to be
No,
clear.
of course, of course. So
I
anyway,
mean,
I really do think he's these mistakes are really killing us right now because they're being exacerbated. That because our team is just
yeah.
well.
I mean, to just defend Steve Kerr a little bit. I mean, he's had some great rosters, but like, there's other guys. I think I would describe Steve Kerr as like a ceiling raiser. So, like, if you give him a good team, he'll make it. He can make it work. But like, this team was just not. equipped well enough to like actually succeed. And there's guys like Doc Rivers who you can give them a good team and they'll underachieve with it. So that's what we saw with the Lob City Clippers. The Celtics team only won one title. It's just not every coach can like make a good team mesh well. And I think that's what Steve Kerr is good at. Like he's good with personalities, not necessarily like scheming. I think that's what we lost with Mike Brown leaving. Like defensively,
Oh
like
man.
that video, that YouTube video you guys sent with the guy like screaming at the Warriors mistakes.
Every,
That wouldn't
my
happen with
my
Mike Brown
new
here.
favorite, NBA YouTuber. I'm sure some of you guys have either seen his videos or gotten him in recommended. Awful coaching. Shout out. You
Bro.
come and do a guest spot on here. Just yell at us for 15 minutes. That'd be sick.
Dude, in this episode, you're wrong. And like the aggressive tapping on his goddamn laptop is so funny. No, yeah. I think I think I would describe Kerr as I think he's an overrated coach. I definitely do think that is an accurate statement. He is a good coach, don't get me wrong, but he's not as good as people frame him just because he happened to also get one of the best defenders of all time and two of the best shooters of all time and one of the best players of all time. And then in the midst, got KD as well. So, yeah, he is a good coach, a great coach. I'll even give him that. But he's not as elite as people say. He's definitely not. I don't believe that at all.
I mean, it's just a factual statement. He's been blessed with more talent than I think probably any coach except for Phil Jackson. I mean, I think that, I mean maybe that's debatable, but just off the top of my head, I guess the only one you could really make an argument for. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of tough. You're grading him on a curve, you know. He's had like 6 future Hall of Famers play for him, and a lot of them were in their primes playing for him at the same time, and he got 4 rings out of it. So you can't really criticize that resume. But yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
you know, you can only
Very
judge him
valid.
on what you see playing out in front of you.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't pretty this season.
It wasn't. It wasn't pretty this season. It wasn't pretty last season. It really wasn't. So I think another common trend that happened this game, we got absolutely flamed on the 3-point line. Like cooked. It was
As
unbelievable.
usual.
Keegan Murray, 32 points. Oh my goodness. Like, wow. This dude was dropping bombs. Keon Ellis.
The effort was not there. The effort was not there. No.
Effort was absolutely not there. You know, Kuminga, I remember the play. He was complaining about a foul call. Brother, it is an elimination game. Get up and run. And who highlighted this? Awful coaching. Slamming his keyboard. Like, because it's like, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing? It's like, it's unbelievable. And Clay was just in his head. I think it's unfortunate because clearly he's lost the mental
Confidence, you think?
confidence. Yeah, like the mental capacity to kind of pick himself up in a crucial game like this or a crucial series. Because what
He
happened
seemed pretty confident taking his 9th 3 after missing his first 8. Or his 10th.
Did he get to the line at all? Or am I? I
Oh
think
no,
he did.
No, I
didn't?
mean, if he got in the line, maybe he scored a point.
he would have had
Oh my God.
he would have scored a point if he had gone on the line.
Probably.
And who was given the
Oh
second
my
assist of the
God.
game? Mr. 0 for 10, Klay Thompson. So weird, unfortunate, heartbreaking. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It's just unbelievable. Curry also had an off night. He struggled, 22 points. And you know
Yeah.
what? It's kind of scary, but he has been having a kind of streak of off nights. The last I would say month. He's been month or 2 months, maybe even. Actually, I would say post All-Star break. He's been really inconsistent. He went from like most clutch player
I
in the
think
league.
I think it was like after the Atlanta game when he had like 60. That's when it started, or maybe that was like the midst of it. But that was like a peak within the streak of like 20-point games. But yeah,
Definitely. Like it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird that and it's scary. It's kind of worrying me because those inconsistencies will butcher us. Like if next season, oh man, it's tough. It's tough to say. It's tough to say. That's more future talk, but I don't want to really delve into that. But other than that, poor performances by everyone across the board, bad defensive schemes. Draymond, obviously, Draymond as a single man, there's only so much he could do.
Can't do everything.
Can't do everything, exactly. So unfortunate. Pods, not a really great game. Chris Paul, oh my God.
What a
Heard the post-
perfect send off.
post
What a
match
perfect
talk.
send off for Chris Paul.
We really hope he comes back. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, oh man.
Fingers crossed.
Dude, how are you gonna? Oh my gosh, we did
See
not need it.
that was I mean that was a really depressing night for many reasons, but I mean I said this in the chat, like I genuinely, I mean this really sincerely. Seeing Steve Kerr say that they want to bring Chris Paul back made me more upset than the loss. Like it really truly did. Like because it just feels so like I'm out of touch. Like nobody in the fucking fan base wants to hear that. Like who literally what Warriors fan is out there like, oh my God, please, we need Chris after this season, we need Chris Paul back. That's the only way we're gonna do anything next season with Chris Paul on the roster. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude. I don't care how good of a locker room presence he is, or whatever, what kind of basketball genius he is, or I don't if he's a nice guy, I don't give a shit, dude. There is no reason why he should be on this fucking roster next year. I mean, I'm going to lose it. If we prioritize bringing him back over literally any other possible roster move we could make, I mean, he has to be the last priority. With 14 guys on the roster, maybe you give him a phone call. It's like, yo, Chris, you can come and sit on the bench and like be a coach for us next year if you want to, if nobody else is willing to pick you up. But anything else, I mean, just insulting to Warriors fans.
Yeah,
shouldn't be a priority in the off season. Hopefully not.
like, absolutely, he should not. I think that's more of other conversations though, to see what we do, what's going on, what's the move.
Yes, we keep getting just a little bit off topic, going
It's kind of
going to think about the offseason and stuff.
Yeah, because there's a
But,
lot
you
to
know,
talk about. Like
There's a
like,
lot to talk about.
I'm
And it's
like
coming in a future
thinking to
talk
talk
about-
about Clay's situation.
should we move on to
And-
Lakers?
Yeah,
Lakers,
I think
Pelicans now?
just
Yeah.
right, just highlighting for the Kings, it was a very balanced game from all of them. Keegan Murray 32, Barnes 17, Sabonis 16, 12 and 7. Goddamn. Keon Ellis 15, De'Aaron Fox 24. They did not have Malik Monk and Kevin Herter. That is embarrassing on us. That is so embarrassing. They wiped the floor with us. This season, they own us. They own us.
I think that's true. I think that's
Not
true.
even a joke, they own us. It's sickening. That was just a
And
performance.
I would also note, like you run down that box for it, and it's like everybody on the Kings has a good night, which and the eye test bears that too. What that suggests is that everybody could get whatever they wanted at any time, which is
Yep.
basically what it was. Any player on that court who was trying to cook, they were cooking. There was no the gas was not being turned off. It was left on for anybody. Anybody could walk up to that pan and start, filleting, and they were gonna make something happen. Yeah,
just-
I mean,
It was absolutely just whoever offense on everyone.
exactly.
So embarrassing. And I think it's just one of those things as a fan, like we're fans, we just spend our whole entire day and life and year thinking about talking and really like what you said, it really is heartbreaking to hear Kerr come out and be like, oh, we really hope Chris Paul comes back. Because it's a spit on our face. It's a spit on our face because I mean you don't really give a shit about us. Mind my language. Should not have swore.
I mean, it's true. It's
But
revalidating.
you
Like,
think that you don't give a crap. You guys are multi-goddamn millionaires sitting around, all good. Freaking what? It's at a Friends 11, bro. It's a Friends 15.
Exactly.
What the hell's
So
going
Friends
on, bro?
15.
The Friends 15? Like what the frick is going on? I'm
I don't get that reference. What's
like,
Friends
it's
15?
Friends 15. Like, is it a group of friends? Is it like a Friend 15
It's-
squad?
Is that a soccer term or a cricket term? I always forget.
I mean, it's used in cricket a lot. So Friends 11,
Okay, yeah.
West means is that it's a team full of friends. Like you're choosing your friends to play with you over quality. Oh, it's basically like nepotism type vibe, Like, what is going on? Like
It's like Jared Dudley.
it's exactly
Just-
absolutely. It's stuff like that, where
Jared Dudley, bro. Nah, he was good, bro.
Jared Dudley, the nepotism king, the legend.
Wait, Jared Dudley, did his dad play league or something, or what?
No. Just that was the joke. It was like for the last 3 years of his career, he would just be on the bench like 24 hours a day, like doing nothing. And you just think,
Yeah.
he'd be like cheering and stuff. And it was like it was like the joke. It's like he was literally just there to like for moral support.
yeah, absolutely. And
Dude, yeah, I mean, I don't even think it's like a I'm not like trying to tear down Chris Paul so much because he's not the reason we lost the season, but like it kind of seems like there's nothing to be happy about in the season, you know? It's not like, oh, Chris Paul was the one bright spot, so we got to bring him back. That's not.
It's
That's the
No, no,
opposite of the truth.
no, it's hard. It's horrible. It's sickening that this is what's going on. That this is the place where Kerr is at. Like, it's a spit on our face because to not
No
even have
accountability.
balls to come be like, he wasn't that great for us. He wasn't. He didn't do anything for us, really. He really didn't do anything. I cannot think of a single time where I was like, man, Chris Paul really just brought us back and led us to. He was basically like, he was just like a net zero.
I mean, he was a good coach. I think he was a good coach to the young guys. I think he brought confidence to like Trace,
Even that,
but like
even that, I don't know. I like again, even that's
Mhm.
you can't really measure that. It's like okay, sure, I guess, but like you could say the same thing about freaking Jared Dudley. He was a nice guy.
Usman Garuba. Exactly. I mean,
Yeah, it's a stupid
same
point.
thing.
I think it's stupid. Like, okay, join the coaching staff. Like, I don't want you on my lineup for moral support, dog. Like, it's like you know who are the greatest leaders, the greatest motivators are the leaders and motivators who are out there on the field doing work themselves. Because then you motivate others. Like, man, this who's a mentor to me, who's a role model to me. He's telling me to play hard, put your heart out. And if that guy is also outputting everything, again, obviously,
Mike Brown running up and down the court like screaming at his player crew. That's what we need.
that's what we need. I just think that everyone had accepted that this season it ain't happening. I think they had accepted it a couple months ago. They realized it's not happening. Hey man, it's fine. It's all right, man. You won 4 rings, multi-millionaires. We're having a good time. It's fine. Just go out there, just try to play. I think that's the vibe I really picked up. And
And
obviously,
somehow we transitioned to Lakers Pelicans and then got back to like we were supposed to leave.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
came
I
back.
apologize. I think it's just like it's just my
Nobody
luck.
said the words Chris Paul and it was over.
No, honestly, I'm more upset.
That like
I'm actually,
popped the vein.
I'm honestly more upset. I'm more upset at Kerr. He is really he's really disappointed me. He's really disappointed me with like saying that. Oh my god. I really hope we bring Chris Paul back. Anyways, that could be a nonstop discussion. Disappointing.
Facts.
Pathetic season.
We can make a Chris Paul episode in the off season.
Like, I'm not even upset that he didn't play super well. It's just like, why are we acting like he played well? Why are we acting like he was a positive for us? Like, I was like, Kurt, are we blind? Are you like, it's disrespectful. He thinks that we're stupid, dog. Like, no offense, Kurt. You think that you're gonna like, man, we hope Chris Paul, and the fans will be like, oh, yeah, bring Chris Paul. Like, no. There are some elite commentating channels out there who will call this bull crap out, Kurt. And that's us. So, nonsense. We could just go on that forever. And you know, I think TLDR Dynasty's over. But we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on.
All right, let's just jump. I'll just straight up like jump. We can just
Jump
like
to the
go
Lakers and
straight.
Pelicans. Straight to the paint.
Anyways, okay.
So
Okay,
I think
first thing. Watching
LeBron got bailed
Zion
out.
Williamson. Okay, he did. Watching Zion Williamson absolutely just fearlessly attack Anthony Davis was cathartic.
He cooked him.
It was so fun. Like he was just going at him in a way that very, very few guys are willing to even try. I mean, first off, but I mean to succeed is a whole nother thing. I mean, just so many times, like AD, he's trying to step up and like get in a stance, and then Zion is just darting past him. The second he gets past him, he's exploding into the air. You cannot contest him because it's just going to be a foul. He's already at the rim. Like he is such an entertaining player to watch when he is fully healthy. And of course, because it's Zion and he's cursed and God hates him, and he's also fat. He came down on his leg and injured it, and now he's probably going to be out for this next playing game, and they're probably going to lose, and he's not going to get to see the playoffs again, which is very sad. But it just has to be acknowledged for the like 35 minutes he was in that game, like he was just cooking.
Absolutely. He He was phenomenal to watch. Even defensively, he had some good plays. He locked down LeBron in some plays. It was really impressive to watch. I think if he remained in the game, the Pelicans take it. But unfortunately, those crucial minutes he wasn't there. CJ had a CJ-esque playoff performance or elimination game performance, stepping out of bounds, not showing up, like common trend. And I feel bad. I really do, because it's funny because some players, they just don't have it. They don't have the
Don't.
type pressure. They really don't. CJ is one of those prime examples.
To be fair, CJ put up like
playoff
40 in that CJ put up like 40 in that Denver Portland series, like 2019, bro.
We don't.
Quadruple overtime, bro.
Do
He
we-
was
also
cooking. He was
stepped over-
cooking.
We do not
also
care.
stepped out of-
We do not care.
And
He also
Dame was
stepped out
not
of-
cooking
He also stepped out.
I mean, that's
like
yeah. I
2
mean,
years later.
we all know that, but
Point though is that he was just nowhere to be found. Jose Alvarado, I really do like him. I love his intensity. And he's
They-
starting to develop a shot too. Like he was hitting some shots. Like he was
Yeah.
2 for 5 from downtown. Not an insanely good percentage, but I just love him. He is like a way better Patrick Beverly. Like a way better Patrick Beverly.
well, let's
I mean,
not
that's the thing
disrespect
with the-
prime. Let's not disrespect prime Patrick Beverly. Okay, he was a problem, dude. Dude, I remember like, dude, those 2016-17 Rockets, man. He was a problem.
But
He was an
Patrick
enforcer.
Beverly never
Took out
even had an
Westbrook.
offensive game.
He set the tone.
He never had an offensive game though.
I mean, we all have our flaws.
Okay, he was like the anti-Thomas. He had no offensive game and all defensive. Thomas all offensive, no defensive. Jose Alvarado, he could hit his shot. Like he hit some
Man,
big shots.
Yeah, I mean, they literally they went on. I want to say it was like a 12-point run where they made up, I think, a 12-point deficit with CJ McCollum out of the game and Jose Alvarado
Well,
playing as the lead
obviously.
guard. I mean, yeah, obviously. I mean, who is he going to be in the game when they make the 12-point run? I don't think so. But no, I mean, it's to me, and this is kind of like a small personal victory for me because I've low-key been saying this for a while. I think the team is genuinely just straight up better when CJ is off the court and Jose Alvarado is functioning as the lead guard because he's. I mean, unselfish is a huge cliche, to describe a player, but I mean, he's unselfish. He's also pass first because he's not going to be taking step back threes. He's not going to be running the pick and roll, attacking the basket and hitting floaters or. So I mean, he kind of has to be unselfish, but the offense works so much better for them when they just give it to Zion and everybody else gets out the way. When they give it to BI and everybody else gets out the way, like to me, CJ's always felt very redundant on that team, and the fact that he's not a grade A playmaker only exacerbates that and makes it worse. And yeah, I mean that was evident in that game. Like he goes off the court, they go on a run. I mean, I obviously, like, you could say, oh, fluke, whatever, yada yada. But to me, I think it's very suggestive of something. And I would also say that I think the Pelicans front office is probably aware of that, and I would not be shocked if they try to move on from CJ in the offseason somehow.
Yeah, I would really want them
Regardless
to.
of what happens this
I
this
really,
next
really would
game.
want them to, like, if they could get a really good playmaking guard. Ooh, that would be really nice.
Well,
Like
there's talks of like BI for DeJounte Murray, which would be kind of nice. But that's BI you're getting rid of, not CJ. But
yeah,
I mean, I think we were
CJ.
completely robbed of like what could have been like a pretty fire ass first round series if Zion stayed healthy, because then it'd be Zion and the Pelicans, I think, would probably beat the Kings, and then they'd be playing OKC, and I think that's like a terrific matchup because that's two elite playoff performers, two guys that are not proven on the playoff stage, really, Shea and Zion. Although Zion, I think, like, this wasn't the playoffs technically, I guess, but like in the play-in, there was like playoff intensity, and he was just
100%. And he was
barbecuing AD.
AD, the best rim protector in the league, according to.
And it wasn't even like he was scoring against like tough defense, which AD is, but he was making the right reads. Like point Zion was just like in full swing. Like you're talking about like his Jose Alvarado threes that he was hitting. That's because of the 2 or 3 guys that Zion commands, and then he can kick it out to Alvarado or Herb Jones or Trey Jones. Wait, Trey Jones or
Trey Murphy.
Trey Murphy.
Trey Murphy.
Oh man, Trey Murphy, dude.
But like their offense is like insanely good when Zion can basically just go through anybody with like tissue paper, and then worst comes to worst, he can toss it out, like make the smart move to the right players, and they got knockdown shooters out there, so
Oh yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
would have been a dangerous team, but
No,
without Zion,
absolutely.
it's kind of tough.
It's he is insane. It and you kind of made a really good point because if they so like right now where they're gonna play against the Kings. Hopefully they win. I really want the Pelicans to win. We've seen the Kings in the playoffs. Boo, boo, close the beam.
Facts.
You get the Pelicans in the playoff. They're gonna be the 8th seed. They're playing against the first seed, which it's the
OKC.
or OKC.
It's the Thunder. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Pelicans OKC would have been so good.
That's gonna be
But
a lot of fun. And then the winner of that obviously then would play winner of either Clippers, Mavs, or
I think it's Clippers, Mavs.
Yeah.
honestly.
Clippers, Mavs.
honestly, I can see them going to the Western Conference. Like if Zion's healthy, and
He's not.
like if he comes back in time for the
No, but he's not. Like that's the sort of like they know he's gonna be out for like multiple weeks. Yeah. That's why I was saying God hates him. Like he's done. And their season's probably done tomorrow. I mean, I don't want to.
God, you have to be kidding me.
No, it sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I'm taking the Kings over Pelicans, I think, tomorrow.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not.
Diagnosed with a left hamstring strain. He'll be re-examined in approximately 2 weeks. God damn it.
Yeah, exactly.
God
He
damn
was
it.
so good, bro. He was so good.
No, dude, the problem is diet and routine. It's diet, dude.
It's literally
He
lay
didn't
off the
slip on a
Taco Bell,
cheeseburger.
man.
He didn't slip on a
Yeah,
cheeseburger, bro. He
he's
just
not
landed it
healthy.
wrong.
Here's the thing. This is why I have the utmost respect for LeBron James. He is an athlete. He's
Oh
an
God.
athlete.
It's so you literally this is what I'm saying, because if you don't just like dedicate yourself to hating him, you'll find yourself compelled to just randomly insert him into
It's
conversation.
true.
He has
It's true.
nothing
Because
to do with this
it is the
conversation. Get him
utmost-
out of here.
I have the utmost respect for LeBron. He is the ultimate athlete. You look at every freaking sport. Every freaking sport. Even Ronaldo could not do what LeBron is doing right now. Ronaldo couldn't. Ronaldo had to go to Saudi.
Why are we bringing Pinaldo into this?
Back Pinaldo. I'll tell you why we're bringing Pinaldo. Is because they call him also like an ultimate athlete, which he is. He is an ultimate athlete. But LeBron is an even bigger athlete. A more overall physically straining sport, bigger.
Bro, what does this have to do with Pelicans Lakers?
Because Zion Williamson needs to take care of his body and his health and his diet, all of the above.
This is the healthiest season. This is his healthiest season,
Dude,
like
here's the
all
No, I mean it
problem,
is,
his whole
but
career.
But here's the problem. It roots from the unhealthy.
And I'm so proud of Zion.
It
I'm
roots
so
from
proud
the
of everything
unhealthy
he's done.
lifestyle. Dude, you look at the play where he got injured in. He didn't do crap. It wasn't like he landed awkwardly. He just kind of went for something and then he just kind of was hobbling on the way down. It's just a strain. Like his body's not used to him exerting this much, I guess, energy, or I don't know, bro. I don't know. I'm not gonna try to act like I know.
no, it's no. Look, no. I mean, the reality is like, as much as like I commend him for putting in the work to, I mean, because he had slimmed down and he had his healthiest season probably. I mean, since like the one stretch he had as a rookie, but nevertheless, like bigger body, the more weight that you're carrying on your body, the bigger body you have, the more at risk you're going to be for freak things like that to happen to you on normal plays. It was a normal play. There was nothing unusual about it. And his body still gave out on him. And that's unfortunate and frustrating. But obviously, yeah, it's also a symptom of the body type that he possesses. And some of that, to be fair, some of that is what also makes him such a freakishly exceptional player on the court. But I mean, we've heard stories coming out like all year. Like there's still issues surrounding his ability to like stay fit. And he definitely could be more fit. And I hope for the sake of the league and for the sake of him that he only continues to improve on that front, because every single injury they pile up, every single one gets you one closer to the last one that you're ever going to have, the one that's going to end you. I mean, functionally. I mean, there's obviously many guys who have had like an injury that we think isn't it, like John Wall famously, like he has that knee injury, whatever, like, and nobody thought it was it. He comes back, but he's like 70% of what he was, and he gets another one, and then he's done. It's like that's the future that lies in wait for guys who get injured over and over and over and over again. Like eventually they just pile up and become too much. So I just
Yeah.
Zion like is one more offseason for him to like really try to get it fully under control and like put together like like a 70 game healthy season next year. That would be so nice to see. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's another one of those things where, how we're talking about Kerr. It's like it's really a spit on the fans' faces. You have your entire franchise. They're dying to see you play. They're dying to see you go out there, just give it your all, just be on the court. And the least you could do is just take care of your body, which is your job. That's literally your job. The thing is that, unfortunately, when you're not an athlete, you're not a professional, this is what happens. You don't take your profession seriously. And this is what happens. And you're a selfish person. Your entire fan base, your entire organization, they're putting money, they're putting time, they're putting effort, faith, belief, and you can't even take care of your body. It's unfortunate. So I don't want to get too much on that because we could then talk about the game itself. Other than that, another one, I think, AD. It's not like he had a struggling defensive game. He was really, really good around the rim for other guys, other than Zion. He just couldn't stop Zion. It was
Yeah.
truly, truly amazing how well he was playing. Another guy who was freaking hooping, D'Lo. He was
Dude, D'Lo's having like his
big
best
shot.
season.
He's having a resurgence. He was hitting big shots in big moments. Um, Another person who played really well. Obviously, stat sheet doesn't show he had an insane amount of points, but LeBron freaking James. It's unbelievable. I cannot believe it, bro. 39 years old. My God. And he's playing like this. He was slicing their defense up, finding players left, right, up, and
23 points on 6-20 shooting. I'm not even going to put up with it. No, we're done. We're done with this. No, I'm not going to put up with it.
not about points.
He had a
Points.
mediocre game. He terrible? No,
Say
it was
that
a
he
mediocre
had a
game.
very good
There is
defensive
no
game,
way you
and
could
he had a very
possibly
good
gas that.
playmaking game. He had a very good defensive game and playmaking game. 3 steals, 2 blocks, and he had 9 assists, and he was facilitating the offense. Please. And when the big moment came in the fourth quarter, when he was like 0 for 9 or whatever, he showed up and he sealed the deal. He hit that huge shot that kind of brought the momentum back to them. Please, please, please. With all due respect, it wasn't an insane game, which is why I prefaced it with saying points weren't crazy, but he had a impactful game.
Saying the insane
Yeah.
shot is one fadeaway hit with like 2:30 remaining, even a 2-point lead, which they immediately started on the
I
other end.
mean,
It's not
that's the thing with the
exactly a
Lakers.
dagger.
It brought momentum back.
That's the
Like
thing with the Lakers.
That was a
let's
huge
get
shot.
real.
It was a huge shot of the game.
Oh my
You
God.
guys want to glaze them. You guys want to glaze and opposite glaze him, bro. It's a guy.
He's an opposite glaze. That's kind of good. All right. Anyways, you were saying what?
Let's just try to be objective. I mean, I think the Lakers like ceiling totally depends on how good LeBron's going to be because last season
Bad news for
they
them.
were still very competitive. They were still very competitive, even though LeBron had an all right postseason. Like obviously the Grizzlies series he kind of cooked them, but in the Warriors series he wasn't like insane. I think he was still or actually it was kind of between AD and Steph between the best player on the floor. So it wasn't like LeBron
It
had
was
like an all
AD.
right
I think
second round.
we had discussed
No,
this
no,
at length
it's
last year.
but he's also
It was
LeBron is
really
also not
AD.
100% healthy.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. But like so this season, this offseason, if he's healthy, then I'm not saying that they're not going to beat the Nuggets, but they're definitely going to put up more of a fight than they did last year, I think. And hopefully
Maybe
it
they
won't
could
be a
even get to
sweep.
5 or 6 moral victories this year.
They might push it to actually 16. That's not off the table, I don't think. But
Yeah, but
it's all going to depend on LeBron, I think.
yeah, absolutely.
How healthy he is.
LeBron and AD for sure. I think the supporting
I
cast.
trust D'Lo and Austin Reeves to show up, I think, as
You know
much
what's funny?
as
I don't trust them actually. Like D'Lo is very, very. So AR, I don't really trust. Like he's very on off. Defensively, he's atrocious. He's horrible defensively, and
well,
offensively,
yeah, that's
he's solid when he's
why they
hitting
have AD.
shots. But in the playoffs, I feel like in the playoffs, Austin Reeves kind of struggles. I think that the intensity gets to him. The flopping doesn't get fouls as much. So the bopping your head thing that doesn't
Oh
work as
my
much.
God, he's just it's
Filthy. I hate
sickening.
that. I hate that. That's repulsive when I see those freaking repulsive. It pisses me off.
I mean, I guess by trust, I mean like they obviously I don't know, I'm trying to think of how to put this, but like they have a reduced role, obviously, like compared to LeBron and AD, so it's going to depend more on them. So like if they have like, I just don't think their lows are going to be as low. I mean, obviously D'Lo's low kind of cost them that Denver series to a certain extent. Like I'm not saying they would win if D'Lo had a good series, but he had an atrocious series. But I don't know, I
Really
just don't
did.
think their lows. I don't think their lows quite will like tank their season so much, but I think it's going to be on LeBron and AD to reach that superstar level.
I mean,
Yeah, I would
look,
agree
it's
with that.
going to
I
be the
think if
same.
AR and D'Lo should play normally, do their role, and
Exactly.
I agree with your statement for sure.
Because it's like third and fourth best scorer. It's not like an insane
Yeah,
task for them to take on, I think
yeah,
just
I agree with that.
try to play up to that.
Same with like other guys like Rui Hachimura. I think he's also an important piece to them too. Like he gets a lot of minutes, and it's because of the things he's doing other than also scoring. The pretty solid
They don't
defense.
have anybody else to play.
I mean, he's also
Well, he's a
he's
big
also,
I
body.
mean,
He can throw
literally,
on too.
he's also a solid
he
player.
is. That's actually. I mean, yeah, he's all right. Look. No. Here's the thing. It's gonna look this. It's gonna be the same thing that dooms them this year, that doomed them last year, and it's why they're never gonna win anything meaningful. You can't have a wing rotation of AR. I mean, D'Lo's a guard, but I mean, you can't have a perimeter rotation of AR, D'Lo, Roy, and 39-year-old LeBron James on defense and be a championship contender. You just can't. And they don't even have this year. They don't even have Jared Vanderbilt because Jared Vanderbilt's hurt. Last year, that's the guy who they were throwing on Steph and they were throwing on Jamal Murray to try to pester them in big games. They don't even have him this year. I mean, who are they going to be throwing on to? I
Yes,
literally don't know. Like, who are they going
Austin
to be
Reeves,
throwing
I
on to
guess.
Jamal Murray? I mean, this better not be Austin Reeves. I mean, it can't be. It just does that won't work. It can't be D'Lo. I mean, I guess, is it Roy? Roy's too slow. He's too big. He's too slow. There's no way he'll get fried. I have no clue
Yeah, I
how
mean
that's going to work. So
that's the thing.
for
I
me, that
still
that eliminates any like possibility of. I mean, maybe I could legitimately see six. I'll give them that. I do think that it was a closer series last year than people, I think, haters like me wanted to admit. Even though it was a sweep, it was a close sweep, as Lakers fans love to point out. Uh,
four
they
roll
love to bring that out.
victories.
They love to bring that out like it means something or matters. Uh, and yeah, I think if you flip a couple possessions around, a couple shots go in that maybe could have gone in that didn't last year. Like it's a 6 game series last year too. So yeah, I mean I would give them that, but they're not going to beat them.
No, no,
Let's
of
keep
course
it
not.
real.
No, of course not by any means necessary. So, I think let's move on to the other play-in games. Let's talk about the 76ers and the Heat. I think I'll just start off. It was a little bit scary when Butler kind of uh looked like he got injured, but thugged it out. He was hooping. He's a warrior. He's a champ. Played 40 goddamn minutes, and it looked like ooh, it's not. It was looking like he may not be able to return. There was that funny meme that I sent in the chat, like that was circulating on Twitter, the call an ambulance, boom, but not for me. And there was a face of Jimmy Butler. So that was interesting to see. He didn't have an insane game, unfortunately. 19,
He was so hobbled. Yeah,
19, 4 or 5.
he
Yeah.
was struggling up and down the court.
It's unfortunate. 5
Um,
for 18. 5 steals though, which is like
oh my God.
wow.
It was like watching instant replay. The way that he was picking off the 76ers entry passes and taking them. There were like 3 plays that were perfectly identical. I mean, perfectly identical, where he's hanging out, kind of like skulking around as the inbound's getting ready to be thrown in. And the second it's thrown, boom, he picks it off, just goes all the way down, dunks it on the other end. Free 2 points. Like, that's who he is. That's like, it's a perfect encapsulation of who he is. Like he's gonna find a way to make stuff happen, even if it looks a bit ugly or unorthodox. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you saw. He's gonna be out for 2 weeks also, just like Zion.
Wow, I didn't hear that. That is
Yeah,
Wait, who?
it came out after he was playing on Jimmy Butler. He was playing on pure adrenaline, basically. He's probably shouldn't have been out there, but it's Jimmy, so he's
yeah,
gonna.
that is
Yeah,
unfortunate for him.
he's gonna thug
That's
it out,
basically
but
the season.
probably, yeah,
Probably. I mean, that's more for our preview for the final for their next play.
yeah.
They are playing against the Bulls, so I do think they'll win. But that is very unfortunate for the Heat. Again, I just don't. It's unfortunate because injuries kind of screwed them. Like not Tyler Hero. Terry Rozier also being injured is unfortunate. How long is he injured for? Do you guys know?
He's actually coming back next game.
Good to hear. I get
Scary
maybe
Terry.
that could help with the
Scary
offensive
Terry.
because that's why Terry Rozier is a huge pickup for them because he's someone who could really. He's a good shot creator, good offensive creator.
Facilitate offense, yeah.
Exactly, not defensively, obviously, but you guys to pick up the slack for that. So unfortunate for that.
Yeah.
Tyler Hero with the most points of the night. I think they will really need two guys at least scoring 20+ points, and then they'll need like two guys in 10+ points if they really want to win.
I
Because
just feel like Bam's too inconsistent as a second
exactly
option. So
and
it's
He's
exactly
just
and
such a frustrating player.
yeah, he is. He really is.
go ahead, you can have
He
your
is a
rant.
playoff riser though.
He is, but it's like in a weird way, you know? Like he's going to do like he's gonna do everything to win except like create his own shot and make it, which is like the frustrating thing about him is that I mean, because it's not like he's a non-factor on offense. Like he's a scorer in a certain sense. Like he can do he can run the pick and roll and he gets a mismatch. He can attack them in the post and sometimes he can even attack a closeout. Finish a contested layup, get an and one, whatever. But just every time that they need him to like really do something, like all right, okay, you got I don't know, like a Paul Reed in the post. Okay, we're just toss it down to you. Post entry pass. Make something happen. Like there is nothing going on. And I mean, and he makes it look so ugly too. I mean, like even when he does occasionally like get something to work, it's just like the most awkward looking, like slow spin post fade, and it like bounces around the rim and it goes in. You're like, okay, I mean, well, if he could do that 15 times in a row, like maybe you'd have something, but we all know it's missing the next time he tries it. Um, I mean, and this has kind of been like, I mean, this has just been the dynamic with that team forever. It's like, okay, you have Jimmy Butler doing heroics, and you have like your cast of like no-name white guys hitting threes, and you have Bam, who can never quite be the second option they need, but who's also obviously far too instrumental of a player on the defensive end, and far too instrumental for just the general like cohesion of that team to not, be there. Like they need him. They also need somebody else, and that somebody else has never materialized. Uh, and obviously, like Tyler Hero is like I mean, Terry Rozier was an attempt to maybe find that guy. Tyler Hero is, I mean, he could be like last night, or I said last night. I think it was like two days ago at this point. But against the 76ers, towards the end, he was the guy. Jimmy Butler was completely hobbled at that point. He was just standing around the corner. He wasn't doing anything. Like they needed somebody else, and it was Tyler Hero. He was the one coming off of a screen, taking threes, hitting threes. He was the guy attacking in isolation, hitting a couple tough step back middies. He was the guy making things happen, and he has a fun game to watch. It's very loose, very almost a little bit reminiscent of Poole, where he's kind of out of control. There's like this 5% every time you watch it, it's like 5%. It's like, oh my god, he's about to just embarrass himself. But it always kind of works, He plays loose, but he makes things happen, and he hits his shots. He's hit some tough shots. I mean, obviously going all the way back to like 2020, like he was hitting tough shots
On
in finals. But
AD.
even
Mean mugging.
yeah, but even against 76ers, like there were a couple of threes he took. They're contested. He's leaning away and he's knocking them down. Like he
I
he
think
has
like
something. It's just it's not going to
my favorite
mature.
Tyler Hero shot. Like he's an elite shot. Not elite is an over exaggeration. He's a good shot creator. One of my favorite
He's a good
shots
shot creator.
was in the 2020 in the bubble. AD, he's closing in, and he threw like a floater that went so high up. I was like, I don't know if you guys remember this play.
I think I do remember.
Like I felt like anxiety at how close it was from AD's. Like I felt like wow, that was this close. So he's a really good shot creator. To just really add on to what you were saying, Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the unfortunate thing is that right when he finally gets healthy for a playoff run, now Jimmy's out, and so yet again it hasn't quite materialized. I think like the Heat front office, they have this idea of that being the trio, with kind of like Terry Rozier being like this fourth like secondary playmaker, secondary creation type guy. But it's not going to be this year, and obviously Jimmy's only getting older, so time's kind of running out for them. But I could see
Yeah.
next year they might maybe something will
That's so tough.
yeah.
Like Oh, that is tough,
I mean,
man. I think
I believe in the recipe, to be honest. Like it sounds like a good like Jimmy's your best guy, Bam is your Jimmy and Bam are like your defensive duo that can kind of like lock any top two up, and then Tyler Hero would also be like a pool type D where he's like
Yeah,
your legit second option instead of Bam being your second option, and he's not. He's not really equipped to be your second option on a championship. Like if that's their hopes, like a
yeah.
championship run,
yeah, I was
and
really excited to see if
that's
Terry was
always what I find is.
I was really
I was
excited
just
to
gonna
see,
say that it's. Can I talk?
sorry about that.
No, you're good.
I was gonna
I was gonna
say
say like it always feels like that's the limiting factors. Like Bam is supposed to be like when push comes to shove, Bam is supposed to be like this. Like they can make it really far off of their defensive like just locking down these great teams, but then like they run into a Denver or they run into a 2020 bubble Lakers, and Bam is supposed to be the second option against a legit like title team, and that's their test, and they just can't pass the test each time, and he's always forced to try. But yeah,
no, absolutely. And
yeah. So when
to really just add on what you were saying, I was also really excited to see Terry Rozier in a playoff environment again. You know, dude, scary Terry with the Celtics was a real sight to see. Like, oh wow, I'm not crying to the fans at home. It kind of sounds like I was crying. The crying at the thoughts
it's
of
okay, man, let it out.
bro, the Hornets really just making me get that emotional. No, I think he is just I think he's a big time player. He's a big time performer offensively, obviously. So I think so. Before we get into like the previews, so I'll save that for the preview. But so let's also highlight the other play-in game, which
We didn't talk at all about the team who won,
you, apologies, that is true.
and I'm not gonna forget.
Yeah, the Sixers were all right. So anyway, so then, you know what? The Embiid's biggest rider. Why don't you go ahead? Take it. Take the.
I mean, look, let's lead off. Embiid was terrible. He did not have a good game, and I'm actually, if anything, that game made me more scared for their prospects this season. And you're gonna laugh, and I deserve it. Are you ready for it? He's injured again.
Oh my God, are you
Yeah,
serious?
he's playing on, yeah, he was just not, he's like 75 to 80% at best. He is hobbling around that court. He is slow. He's barely closing out. He's out there. And
Oh
because
my.
it's Embiid, he was able to foul bait enough that he still got like to 23. And he hit a couple big threes to where he had, I think 12, 11 or 12 points in the fourth quarter, and two of them were big threes in transition. He knocked down, so shout out to him for that. He had an off offensive rebound that he grabbed and then immediately put it back for an and one. It was sick to see that, but the Embiid that as it's so often been, the Embiid that we saw in the regular season, yeah, he wasn't out there on Tuesday. I mean, maybe he'll be out there. Maybe he'll be out there in a week. Maybe he'll have recovered in a week when they start playing playoff game. It's not even a week now. It's like what, 3 days at most. When the playoffs start. And look, I will
Sunday.
say 75 to 80% of Embiid is still a very good player. And to be fair, a lot of the lack of production was not just the fact that he was hobbled, which he was, but it was also the fact that Spo, being Spo, was sending hard doubles every single time and forcing him to find the open man. And he was, because he's matured as a player, and it's nice to see. And I'm sure you all saw the memes. Nick Batum is apparently the greatest 3-and-D player in NBA history. I was watching. I was as shocked as everybody else was. He kept getting open threes. He kept knocking them down. Every single one he took, I was thinking, okay, the cold streak's, the hot streak's over. So I was missing, and he kept hitting them. And then he comes up with the great recovery on Tyler Hero. And Tyler Hero, who had been cooking down the stretch of that game too, gets the ball, is in isolation against Batum, kind of beats him, thinks he's about to get the step back off. And Batum with an incredible recovery to hit the shot, lock it, win the game for them. That was a great play. It's kind of a tangent, but shout out Nick Batum. Anyways, point being, Embiid was getting the ball to guys like Batum and guys like Oubre and what's his name? Tyrese Maxey. Can't believe I forgot that. To all the shooters who are open thanks to these doubles that are being sent. But he was not attacking like me personally. Like, I wanted to see him attack. A lot of it had to do with the fact that he was noticeably slower. noticeably less energized, noticeably less present than you'd want him to be. And I'm hope please. Maybe he was phoning it in. That's my only cope at this point because he did not look great. I'm a
I
little bit
think
scared.
another factor was that his co-star, he also had a really struggling game. Maxi was not really there. He was inefficient. 6 for 16, 19 points, 1 for 6 from downtown, 3 rebounds, 6 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks. So the only reason they won was because Batum had an insane game. That's the only reason they won.
Exactly.
Otherwise, for all practical purposes, they should lose. They should lose.
They
Buddy
probably they
Hield,
really probably
Buddy
should
Hield
have.
also like not very existent. Although his role with the Sixers is not super insane, anyways.
Who?
I mean,
Buddy Hield.
he's gonna be really instrumental for them. He's gonna have to step up if they want to really do something. Especially because I think that every team is just gonna copy that same game plan that Spoelstra has. It's just okay, sure. I mean, if you give Embiid a post touch, we're just gonna hard double him, and you have to figure something out because we're not gonna let him ever attack in isolation, not even once. So I mean, Hield is gonna have to be one of the guys who takes advantage of that.
I think
Yeah.
the role players really have to show up. Batum, obviously, like I
Uber.
said, Oubre, Oubre, Harris, like Tobias Harris, like God, they chose him over Butler.
He's not gonna get he got played off the court by Batum, and I don't think he's gonna get back on the court. I think he's gonna be a bench player for maybe he'll quote unquote start, and he's gonna get like 18 minutes a game. I he looks so checked out.
Yeah, it's embarrassing, horrible decision. Anyways, but yeah, I think overall not a very good performance by the team, but they just got lucky by an insane outing by someone who no one would have picked.
Batum.
Batum. So shout out the Sixers. They are now officially the 7th seed. They're going to be playing the 2nd seed, the New York Knicks, which is a fun series. Like it is a
It'll be a-
fun series. So I'm
I mean,
really
definitely be interesting. Like, Embiid kind of has a different formula now this year than he's ever had before. Like, with Tyrese as his now his second option, then that's kind of different than having Ben Simmons or James Harden in the playoffs. Like, it kind of depends like how well Tyrese translates. Because if he does have a legit second option, that's something we've never really seen before. And then I think the role players that he has
we've
now
seen
kind
it
of give him.
once.
Oh, we saw it last. Well, like Tyrese wasn't like the
Jimmy
second
Butler.
best player.
We saw it once, and they ran up against the champs and got bounced. I'm saying with Jimmy Butler.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah,
But to be fair,
but
Jimmy was the first
Embiid
option
wasn't
that
the
year.
player.
Yeah.
But I feel like the role players this year kind of give them a similar defensive ceiling to that one year with Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler, and Embiid when they were also that's good defensive personnel. But now this year with Embiid, Kelly Oubre, Tobias Harris, that's pretty and Batum, I guess now. That's pretty solid defensive personnel. So I think this could be the highest ceiling any Embiid led team has ever had before. So it'd be interesting where they go if he's healthy.
It needs to. I'm really hoping it was just like he was sore and he was like playing it off. I mean,
I doubt it.
it's gonna be so sad if it.
I
I'm
honestly
not
I
saying
feel
that to
bad
use.
because I can see the pain in your
I,
eyes. I feel bad.
I'm not setting up to use an excuse. Like if it's not happening this year, I'm done. I'm giving up. I'm just saying.
I want to see a
Just,
healthy Embiid so bad though. Honestly, I
Well,
really
honestly,
do.
even me, I'm a lover of the sport. I want him to play. I'm just happy he missed out on the MVP. That I'm happy on that. But I really do want him to be a healthy in the playoffs and really prove some haters wrong, like including me. Seriously, I
I mean,
really
there's a path. There's a path too now because if they beat the Knicks and then they beat the Bucks or Pacers, that's they don't have to face the Celtics in the conference final, so he could reach the conference finals.
yeah,
You know, so
yeah. And
new heights.
for him, that's important because it's gonna give him time, hopefully, to get back into playing shape. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I'm excited to see it, man. We're gonna give our playoff predictions after the play-ins are done. So now let's give our final preview, our final predictions for tomorrow or today's.
What about the one game that I predicted right? The Bulls Hawks. We're not gonna.
To go ahead to walk us through it.
Dude, I
What
forgot
what did you
about
see?
that. Apologies.
What
to
is
I
the-
didn't
addition,
watch the game.
what did you see that we didn't?
I didn't watch the
Tell-
game.
tell-
Apologies to the fans at home. It is 1 a.m. in the morning, so and 4 a.m. Eastern. So
Yeah, I was about to say 1 a.m. for us.
Sorry to our Bulls fans.
So let's talk about the Bulls and the Hawks. I think Wes, okay. I think one word, a Kobe White. Like, holy crap! Like,
It's 2
wow.
words.
Kobe White was insane. Like, truly,
He was.
he was hitting layups like, ooh, ooh.
The big 3 showed up. DeMar, Vucevic, and Kobe White. The
Seriously,
big 3
it was
showed up.
all. I think again, the big three.
Small three. We're bringing it back.
We're bringing it back.
And Caruso had a game. I
Um,
mean, I'm not surprised that they
Caruso
won
had a-
because I feel like they just have a
Caruso-
better.
Still sat on the bench
Oh, is he?
for like
Oh.
75% of the game. He was hurt. Yeah, he got hurt early on.
Yeah, Caruso only played 17 minutes.
Yeah,
Well, those 17
Um,
minutes. That's the
I mean,
reason they
they
won.
were elite. No, I mean, okay, wait, I mean, really quick, because I did tune into this game. I mean, unfortunately, I was tuning in this game primarily as a Trae Young truther and Trae Young fan, so that was not a good
That's insane.
experience.
Delusion.
He was, I will say, he was literally playing. I said he was playing with 9 fingers in the chat. I'm not sure if you guys thought I was joking. He was literally playing with 2 of his fingers taped together. So I mean, that's that's a problem.
It's a hindrance.
So I mean, it's a hindrance. You
Yeah,
can't say he was 100%.
I mean, we all saw it.
Yeah, we all saw it when we were watching the game. But no, I mean, he even setting that aside, like he didn't have the greatest shooting night, and you probably couldn't have expected him to with that. But he also just looked pretty, I would say, disengaged. He didn't look aggressive at all. He wasn't attacking that much out of the pick and roll. He was passing it up a lot, letting DeJounte Murray run the offense. And I mean, then on defense, I mean, it's Trae Young, so what do you don't really need to say anything. I mean, setting him aside though, also like Clint Capella is so fucking cooked. Like you said, I mean, everybody saw like the 100 Kobe White layups, but like if you pay attention, like half the time it's Clint Capella getting completely lost, like playing drop coverage or trying to defend a pick and roll and just giving up a wide open lane to Kobe White. I mean, so many of those layups weren't even fucking contested, like at all.
Yeah, that's what I saw in the
Not to take
highlights.
anything
Like
away
that
from him.
one move where you throw the ball in the air to like shift your body weight on one side, and then you have an opening for the lane.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
it was open lanes, but what was impressive was like the fancy maneuver to get there. You know what I mean?
Dude,
Like,
for real, bro.
No, he's
A little spin on it.
he has a nice handle. He's quick. He's I like his jumper. And it's not like he's an elite shooter, but I personally like his jumper. I think it's aesthetic. And to me, that's that's what counts.
no,
He's
yeah,
he's an interesting player. I think I will also say this. I think he deserves MVP, MIP, but he's not going to get it because I think he's going to go to Maxi.
MVP, ladies and gentlemen,
MVP. The biggest upset in MVP history.
Oh,
Nobody saw this coming.
But yeah, MIP.
I do think he deserves MIP on like a spirit of the rule more than like because I feel like there's other guys
Exactly,
that
but
are in the
but
running,
it's probably going to go to Maxi because the narrative's already
Yeah.
been cemented around him. But
yeah.
I think the whole team just overall played. Again, it's funny. You have one player who popped up and rolled the roles of everyone else around. They do their roles. They do their job. It's a winning recipe right there.
I mean, you think even like it wasn't just like Kobe. Like I would assume was cooking them like from deep. You got like he was hitting open threes. I mean, the reality is that the Hawks roster is just so poorly constructed. I mean, at this point, because you have Clint Capella who can't play defense as your big. You have Trae Young who's like Hall of Fame can't play defense as one of your lead guards. Or DeJounte Murray who doesn't look like he doesn't give a shit on defense half the time. You have Bogdan who
Dude, he's a menace.
shocker, also
a menace.
also can't play defense. You have Garrison Matthews, who shocker can't play defense. I mean, it's just some badly constructed roster if you're looking for looking to get a stop. And I think this is gonna be kind of the nail in the coffin for this version of the Hawks. Somebody's gone in the offseason. Possibly Trae, if you take seriously what reporters are saying. I don't know who he's gonna go to. I don't know if it's actually gonna happen.
Spurs.
Welcome to
Spurs.
LA.
Spurs is both. It's funny. I was really all aboard Spurs train, and I saw a bunch of Spurs fans saying like that would be so out of character for our front office. They don't do things that way. They haven't made a big trade for a star player in like the last 30 years, and I doubt they're gonna go for Trey. So
That's
I
true.
was like, I felt it. It felt right to me, but that kind of put a damper on it, seeing the way that
LA,
they were
baby.
reacting to it. But
Trey's coming to the Lakers.
yeah, and yeah, yes,
Yeah, that'd be fire.
Lakers fans seem to think that D'Lo in a first will get it done. So I mean, and they've never been wrong about that before.
Oh no.
So
Oh, most realistic and in tune fans.
mo- yeah, exactly, most realistic fan base.
Really, like
They always know exactly what's going on.
Steve Kerr
In the loop.
in a loop. It's like the black hand and the white hand meme, shaking hands like that. Anyway, so overall, I think obviously Wes was right about that prediction, which he's tried to state like 18 times in this one episode. He got that.
When you're right, you're right.
When you're right, you're right.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
shout out the Bulls. They made my boy Kenny really happy. King of the
Oh, shout out Kenny,
shout out Kenny.
friend of the show.
Absolute friend of the show, a good friend and a mentor of the show. He wanted to give his 2 cents on this match, but unfortunately, Eastern time for
Couldn't
it.
make it. Scheduling conflict.
Yeah, scheduling conflict. What can you do? So
What are you gonna do?
now we're gonna shift gears to just previewing very briefly what we think will happen tomorrow. I think just Raw. I want Raw straight up, guys. So I'm gonna give my 2. Actually, no. Let's do this. A little bit of a different style. I'm gonna say on the count of 3. Let's say our predicted winners for the Kings and the Pelicans.
It's just gonna be,
Okay, so on the count of 3, Kings and Pelicans. Pelicans without Zion. 1, 2, 3. Kings.
Kings.
Pelicans.
Let's go.
It wasn't all
Division.
together. It wasn't all together. So I think just a brief talking about it. The Kings, when they are a unit and they're playing well, are a very scary team. They're a very scary team. They have great shooters. They got good defense. They got good hustle. They got good intensity. They just have a really well constructed lineup. The one thing I would say is that if Zion was there, I'm taking the Pelicans. Zion's not there. I'm taking the Kings for sure.
Same.
It's a no-brainer for me. Although the Warriors should have won like a no-brainer too. But my one question is, do we know when Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter are coming back?
Not
I mean, we
for
don't
this
know.
game.
I don't think.
Malik Monk is coming tonight, I think.
He is really.
Really.
That is news to me.
Oh wait,
Never mind.
sorry. I'm apologies. Malik unsure.
Yeah,
if
I'm
he'll
not saying
be
I
back
know
for the
100.
first round.
Okay.
Interesting.
I mean, my take on that was like, if this is the first time we're seeing the Kings without Malik Monk in the play-in/playoffs, then I would probably take the other team. But now that we saw the Kings without Malik Monk and they kind of seemed fine without him, like I'm taking the Kings because they just look like
I mean,
a complete team.
they're playing the fucking JV squad defense. So
Yeah, that's true.
look, okay. Here's what I'll say. It's on a serious note. I think Jonas. I always mispronounce his last name. Some say it Wes.
Valanciunas.
I always want to say
Valanciunas?
Valanciunas. Yeah, it's Valanciunas. Jonas Valanciunas. I think he's a sneaky great matchup for Sabonis. I think he can cause him some problems. He's big body in the truest sense of the word. I mean, one of the biggest bodies in the NBA. He's built like a I don't know what's a large object that's round and like
A bus?
tall and fat. I don't know. I give up.
Zion?
No analogy. Anyways. He's a good matchup for Sabonis. And I think give him some problems. They have that wing tandem of Trey Murphy and Herb Jones, who I think can really disrupt the motion stuff that the Kings want to do on the perimeter. De'Aaron Fox, who's been kind of streaky all year, I think. I don't know who they're gonna. Maybe Jose Alvarado gives some problems, maybe not. We'll see. But personally, I think on the other end, I don't really know who they're gonna. I mean, Bi didn't have the greatest game, first game of the plan, and he could always disappear again. And it doesn't matter. But if he's on, I don't really know who the Kings would throw at him to get him off. So I think
Murray,
that
probably.
could maybe be there. Yeah, I mean, but he's not a great defender. He's not terrible, but he's not
Yeah.
great. I think that's kind of the